Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Florence Neo. Okay. Hello. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Hello. Hello. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Can I keep it?
You can keep it.
Or I put it on silent?
Put on silent. Okay, put on silent.
Or flight mode?
Yeah. Flight mode is it. If you can keep it on.
There are no hard things yet.
No hard things. Lighter. Aya, ona nani Felix. For your news clips, leta hiyo la zingine umaiki mgeni. Fanya hiyo in 4 minutes. Nani flow? Leta kitu tuweka hapo faili yake hiyo. Hiyo ya huko hiyo tena. Leta tuweka. Hapa social media yake hiyo table leteni. the camera. We are going live shortly.
Hapa ni kesi ya miwani.
Kesi. Ya kamera vizuri. Okay. Sawa sawa. Ya hivyo iko sawa. Yes. Ni hivi lara. Steady the camera and then tupatie. Ajalete maji ingine kwa.
You have tested and you continue to.
Ondoa haraka wewe. Twende. Tutoke kwa site. Okay, thank you. Naam, watazamaji wa runinga, wananchi wote, watazamaji wa runinga Mwananchi ya Tandao TV Kenya, asante sana kwa kuweza kutune in na kuzidi kutazama runinga yako ya Mwananchi, na bila shaka tumekuwa na marekebisho mbalimbali. Haya, na bila shaka sisi tuko hapa kuhakikisha kwamba interview hii inapata kuendelea vile ambavyo tulikuwa tumewatangazia, na samahani hatukuwa Na watazamaji, karibuni sana katika runinga ya Mwananchi ya Tandao TV Kenya, na asante sana kwa wote ambao wamekuwa mnatuma messages mkiuliza mgeni amefika ama atafika saa ngapi, na bila shaka mmemuona. Kuna mwingine alituma ujumbe akasema Kimandari amefika. Haya, ndio huyu amefika. Profesa, karibuni sana. Karibuni. Wanasema ni wewe. Wanasema hiyo ni jina sasa ndio naona inatembea Kimandari amefika. Kwa hiyo nimetumia ujumbe hapa mara kadhaa na wengine wakapiga simu kuuliza interview ilikuwa ianze saa 10 kamili. What has happened? Kwa nini tumekuwa tunatengeneza hapa maneno mbalimbali, na bila shaka mgeni keep time, amepata kuwasili. Tunasema karibuni sana Profesa kwa kuweza kupata hii nafasi kuwa na sisi tena. Na kwa watazamaji wote, mgeni wetu wa leo ni Profesa Edward Waswa Kisiang'Ani, ambaye ni Principal Secretary Ministry of Broadcasting and Telecommunications, na yuko hapa kutueleza maneno ya sekta, kutuambia maneno ya agenda ya serikali ya Kenya Kwanza mwaka huu unaisha wa 2024. Profesa, tuanze immediately. Unaweza waambia watazamaji basi, unaweza jiintroduce tu kwa watazamaji, manake mimi nimefanya lakini sijakamilisha.
Watazamaji wote wa Kenya nadhani tunakubaliana kwamba hii runinga yetu imesambazwa
Kenya nzima.
Hata mtandaoni kwa Australia iko
ndio
hapo hata Marekani.
Ndio.
Sasa mimi ni katibu wa kudumu katika Wizara ya Mawasiliano na Teknolojia. Tuko na makatibu wawili hapo. Myself in charge of broadcasting and telecommunication, na mwenzangu wa ICT ambaye anasimamia mambo ya kidijitali, engineer John Tanui. Sasa katika wizara yetu tuko na makatibu wawili na waziri mmoja. Yes, sasa hiyo ndio, na mimi nadhani katika nyanja hii ya utangazaji. Mimi si mgeni. Sasa nadhani watu wengi wananijua. Mimi naitwa Edward Kisiang'Ani na nimekuwa katibu sasa zaidi ya miaka miwili hapa. Na pamoja na hapo mimi ni mtu wa chini na fikiria maneno ya watu wa chini kama vile rais anafikiria. Sasa kila mahali ambapo kuna matatizo ni lengo langu kwenda huko na kuweza kusaidia rais kuhakikisha kwamba lengo lake na wajibu wake kwa watu wa Kenya unatekelezwa.
Na bila shaka wizara yako Profesa, haswa unaweza waeleza Wakenya kwamba misingi yake ni gani na gani haswa, labda inatoka hapa inafika hapa, ama tuseme kwamba labda ni mambo gani na gani ambayo inahusika nayo haswa directly bila kuuliza chochote?
Unajua kuna wizara yetu ni kama uti wa mgongo wa ajenda ya serikali. Wizara yetu inashughulika na mambo mengi sana. Kwamba mawasiliano yote katika Kenya, ya mawasiliano ya kawaida au ya kidijitali, mawasiliano ambayo yanapitia katika wizara yetu. Sasa vitu kama digital policy, digital skilling, yote inapitia katika wizara yetu.
Ndio.
Baadhi ya mashirika ya serikali ambayo wizara yetu inasimamiwa ni kama ICT Authority, kama KAIST, Kenya Advanced Institute of Science and Technology. Hata sisi tumechangia pakubwa sana kuanzisha hii Open University kwa sababu tuko na miundo msingi ambayo inaweza kusaidia wizara ya elimu. Pamoja na kwamba pamoja na hayo pia sisi wizara yetu ndio chini yangu inasimamia shirika la utangazaji la Kenya KBC, Media Council hapo, Communication Authority of Kenya.
Ndio.
Hiyo yote iko chini yetu. Kenya Institute of Mass Communication iko hapo katika hiyo wizara. Kenya Yearbook iko hapo katika hiyo wizara. Sasa tuko na mashirika nyingi ya serikali ambayo tunasimamia, lakini kwa nini nilisema kwamba ni uti wa mgongo wa ajenda ya serikali? Ni kwamba unavyojua rais wetu mpendwa ameweza kuambia Wakenya anataka wahamishe kutoka zile mifumo ya analoko na kuingia katika ya dijitali. Sasa uchumi wetu umejengeka katika msingi wa dijitali na wizara yetu inahusika kabisa katika nyanja hiyo.
Naam, ukiwa ni uti wa mgongo vile vile rais alikuwa anawatangazia Wakenya kuhusu an increment in government services to the e-citizen platform. Na bila shaka awali zilikuwa services 6,000, lakini kwa sasa amesema zimeongezeka hadi kufika karibu 9,000 hivi, inaelekea 10,000, ama labda tuko bado chini kidogo.
Unajua ziko nyingi sana. Because we also have viewers from the United States and other places.
Yes.
The question you're asking is very important.
Naam.
The question you ask is that government services through the e-citizen, your argument is that they have increased from about 6,000 to 10,000. Not true.
Not true.
That's not true. When President Ruto formed the government, we had just about 350 government services which could be accessed through the e-citizen.
350.
350. Not even half 500,000. But with his massive initiatives, most of the services have now moved to the e-citizen, and some of them, have been new ones have been introduced. So we have several which have been introduced which people are using. For example, if you want to do a wedding and you want your service for weddings only, you can go and ask the e-citizen people to introduce the service you are looking for. So a lot of people have created services. So contract to what you think is 10,000, the services that this government and our president have now put on e-citizen are over 20,000.
Over 20,000. Among those services, kuna zingine ambazo zimeleta utata kwa Wakenya kama swala la kulipia karo kupitia kwa e-citizen, kwa mtandao wa e-citizen, na vile vile kuna swala zima la jinsi ambavyo ushuru labda unavyokusanywa na shirika la ushuru nchini. Naam, naambiwa utumie hiyo.
Yes.
Labda Ni huduma gani hizi ambazo labda zimekuwa introduced lakini zikaleta utata kwa Wakenya?
You know, Bwana Wanyonyi, kuna huduma nyingi na nimekuhesabia sasa ziko zaidi ya huduma 20,000. Nadhani zinafikia karibu 22 sasa. Sasa hizi huduma, kitu ambacho unatakikana uulize sio kwamba zimeleta utata. Lengo la rais kusema kwamba services za serikali ziende kwa njia ya digitali kupitia e-citizen nini? What the president was curing is what you should be asking. Why was it necessary for us to start migrating to the e-citizen? I want to give you some few examples so that you understand and you can understand why people are making noise. One of the parastatals that I will not name because I'm in government, it's not my business to expose government parastatals. We need to protect them. But one of the government parastatals, which is very prominent, was just collecting, very prominent. If you look at its revenue base, it was just collecting when we came in about 1 to 2 million shillings per month. And it's a big parastatal, which it deals with massively. It is within one of the major sectors of. Now, when we came in, the first and we introduced this e-citizen, we pushed hard for payments of government to be done through the 222, and so on the e-citizen platform. The first month it increased to 27 million. Now we are over 100 million collecting government revenue. 100. Yeah, so let me ask you, if we were in 2022 collecting for this parastatal just about 1 million per month, massive, and now we are collecting over 100 million shillings, where was this 100 million shillings going? So you must understand the philosophy behind President pushing. The cure that the president was talking about is basically the cure of revenue leakage. He was looking at the revenue leakage. You know, we go out to look for money, other people's taxes, when our own taxes are being consumed by individuals. So similarly, if we come to the school system, how many times have you heard that parents pay some teachers, heads of institutions, school fees in the back? You have heard these things, where a parent complains and it says, you know, don't chase away my son. This one I'm giving you so that you make sure that the documents are right in the morning. Then the following day, the kid is again chased away because Mwalimu forgot. Yeah. Now, there could be also other small people, other people, including the bazaars within schools, who could collect that kind of money and it never reaches the school revenue box. So, again, there are a lot of leakages of revenue in national institutions, including schools. So the people who are resisting the payment of fees through the e-citizen are the same people who have been resisting in many other national organizations. And the idea is so that they continue with the revenue leakage, money which is meant for public leaks into private hands. And so that's the cure the president is curing. So it's not good for us, Robert, to over-focus on which service is creating utata. What is important to say is, why did the president think that we should get into e-citizen platform? Revenue collection in Kenya has gone up in a way that you can't believe it. But before that, we were collecting very little. So the more we take these services on the platforms, on the digital platforms, the more revenue goes up. Even these schools, some of the money that is collected sometimes, even in universities, is not known to the ministry. If we collect it, we can use it better. So that's the philosophy. And in this case, I am not going to focus on which ones has caused problems. I'm focusing on the fact that the problems it's causing is because some people want revenue leakage to continue. And so public money goes to private hands. Yes.
Okay, still on the same topic, because the main issue here, we are talking about the Kenya Kwanza agenda for this region of Western and also to the Kenyans. There are some issues ambazo zimeongelewa mwaka huu. Watu wameambiwa, serikali ilisema mradi huu tunaanza itasaidia hivi na hivi, lakini kufika katikati unaona kwamba kuna matatizo yanaanza kujitokeza. Tukianza na agenda ya Kenya Kwanza ama ya Rais William Ruto, labda agenda ya kwanza ambayo ungependa kuongelea ni gani?
Sasa
Unaona kwamba ina uzito, tuanzie hapo.
Unajua nini? Robert, mimi nimekuwa katika sebule hii nikiongea mambo ya rais. Wakati huu miaka miwili Mkenya yote ambaye hajaelewa agenda ya rais, na tumeongea tukirudia, kidogo amepoteza mambo fulani.
Network.
Sio network, lakini ni kama pengine hataki. Lakini ukweli wa mambo kwamba agenda ya rais tumeiongelea, lakini hatuwezi kuchoka kuongea mambo ya rais. Agenda za rais kwa jumla zile kubwa kabisa ni 5. Agenda ya kwanza ni ile inazungumzia mambo ya ukulima, agriculture and food security. Agenda ya pili ni hii ambayo unategemea unaanzia wapi sasa. Mimi sijaipanga.
Unaweza anza na kilimo.
Lakini wacha nikutajie zote ndio sasa watu wetu tuweze kuwakumbusha kidogo. Basi agenda ya pili, unajua kuna pia watoto walizaliwa jana. Na pengine wako rais alikuwa akiongea, sasa tunawakumbusha pia. Ndio naona nakumbusha. Sasa agenda ya pili ni ile ya biashara ndogo ndogo, MSME. Agenda ya tatu ni ile universal healthcare ambayo rais amekuwa akiongea mambo ya matibabu. Agenda ya 4 ni ile ya housing and settlement. Agenda ya 5 ni ile ya information super highway na creative economy, hiyo ambayo unaijua. Na watu wote, hii agenda ya 5 ndio inaendeleza, ndio mafuta ambayo yanaendesha agenda zile zingine 4. Lakini kuna ile agenda ya 6 ambayo watu hawaongei sana na ni muhimu sana kwa rais. Na hii ndio hata imefanya wetu akaheshimiwa zaidi katika nyanja za kimataifa. Hii agenda, Robert, ni agenda ya mazingira, kuhifadhi mazingira na hali ya anga, climate change and environment. Hiyo ni sasa, hizo ni agenda ambazo ni za rais. Ndio mimi nimekuwa nikiambia Wakenya wengi, lazima tuchukue fursa kidogo, nafasi kidogo. Hata kama sasa ni wakati wa Christmas, tupike darubini nyuma kidogo, tuangalie huyu rais alipokuwa akiomba kura alisema nini, agenda yake ni ngapi. Na katika kila agenda tuangalie rais amefanya maneno ngapi, ametekeleza mambo gani, ili msije mkalaumu rais kwa mambo ambayo hakusema. Sasa ukitaka ninaweza sasa kuanza hiyo safari nikakuelekeza kwa hizi agenda zote.
Nakupa nafasi.
Lakini kabla ya kuongea hizi agenda 5, 6, sio kwamba rais alikaa tu chini akafikiria agenda hizi zinaweza kusaidia watu wa Kenya. Rais ni mwanasayansi, anaangalia maneno, anayatathmini vizuri, akayapanga, akayaangalia vizuri kabisa, akayapigia darubini. Haya mambo aliangalia matatizo ya Kenya, kwa sababu yeye ni msibu na siasa wa juzi. Rais aliangalia watu wa Kenya wako na shida. Na yeye alifikiria kwamba uongozi wake ungeweza kuyatanzua haya matatizo. Haya matatizo ni kwamba tangu uhuru sisi tuanze miaka ya 60 mpaka juzi, mwaka wa 2022, mfumo wa kisiasa uliokuwako, Robert, ulikuwa mfumo tofauti. Mfumo wa uchumi ulikuwa mfumo tofauti. Ni mfumo ambao unaangazia kwamba matajiri wengi wakiwa juu na wakiwa na mali wataweza kutiririsha hiyo mali kuja kwa watu maskini, mafukara. Lakini huo mfumo kufikia 2022 tulikuwa tumefilisika sana. Na matajiri walikuwako, lakini tumekuwa tumefilisika. So what the president thought about is that he wanted to empower people. Awapatie watu wa chini nguvu na uwezo. Sasa hizi agenda ukiangalia filosofia ambayo iko nyuma ya agenda hii is empowerment of people. I have told people even in the recent sessions that if you don't remember anything about the president of Kenya, President Ruto, this one should never escape your attention. What does he stand for? President Ruto stands for the empowerment of our people. That is really what his agenda is. The philosophy which runs that agenda is to empower people who may not have managed to make it in life, by giving them opportunities that never existed before. So that's why those agendas are there. So, and in each pillar, you will see that empowerment. So therefore, generally, if you look at the last 2 years, now we are finishing 2024. The president has been going sleepless to make sure that this agenda succeeds. Not just here in Western Kenya, but across the country. So if you look at the food security situation, my brother Robert, I don't think that I've been here slightly longer than you. I've been alive longer than you, because I'm slightly older than you, or more, I think by very many years. So I can tell you something.
Yes.
I've never seen in this country any time we have felt this secure about food. We know that there's still a large part of our country which still have some food deficit. But in terms of percentages where we are, we have gone very far. So I can tell you that just as I was walking in, I think I was thinking about this food security situation. Because I live here, I was born here. What do you see? Right now, very many people in the counties that are going to get to try to plant in January, such as Bomet, sometimes places like Kirinyaka, Narok, they have received already 1.4 million vouchers for subsidized fertilizer. But even in this area where we don't plant in January, many people have also received vouchers for subsidized fertilizer. So fertilizer is available.
I received mine yesterday.
You received yours?
Yes, it's here.
So, but why don't, Robert? Why don't you talk about this? Because you know, because when I see many people and young people in this country talking about things, you know. Yes, I can see it. Dear Robert Wanyonyi, you have a maize voucher code number these 4 bags of fertilizer. That is President Ruto. And I thought that you would announce it on top of the roof. Because
No.
I hope you are not just a broadcaster, you are also a farmer.
Yeah,
And you know, yes, so that's the point that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So in terms of that, we had a food deficit. By the time the president was taking over office, we were only producing about 20 million bags of maize.
Yes.
I mean, tons of metric tons of maize. But now, do you know where we are? It is huge, over 100. The increase in food production is huge in this country. And even some people, because of this management of this fertilizer, there were a lot of cartels around here. Who would call you here in Bungoma, or even in Kakamega, that, you know, you have fertilizer, you can go and pick? Who would call you? You know, even the government would release fertilizer, it's taken by cartels, and then they start charging 3 times the price. So price of fertilizer has moved under President Ruto from 7,000 shillings to 2,500, and this fertilizer is available. Initially, it is wananchi who were begging to government to give them fertilizer, but now government under Ruto is begging wananchi to pick fertilizer. You know, I can see that message. It's begging you to go and pick. You have been allocated.
Why do you think they are begging?
You know, the government knows very well that the alternative, if government cannot beg you to be food secure, the alternative is that you will tax people to import maize from Uganda.
Or is it because of the propaganda that was around that fertilizer last year? Because many people are saying hii ni mchanga, iko na mchanga, it has some substances ambazo si vizuri za ukulima. Labda ndio sababu watu wengi hawana.
No, the government is not, it's just informing everybody that this is a good project. And the question is that the government is not saying that because it is desperate. Every other time, the role of government is to tell people the right thing repeatedly. So that's why it's begging them, please, if you didn't do it last time, come and pick it. Because they know if you pick it, you will improve the food security within your area. But then there's this story that you just keep talking about. I hear many people in the media talking about it, that watu waliuzia mchanga. There was an attempt to mess up the fertilizer project by the president. But this attempt didn't succeed. That is why there is a very big difference between what people used to allege about the fertilizer and the production of maize. If we had planted our maize using the so-called mchanga fertilizer, do you think we would be having this harvest? So the government has capacity and detected the problem, settled the problem. I do not want this to be part of our story. Our story now is the president wants us to take this fertilizer he has allocated to us, plant more food because it's good for our country, so that the money we have can be used to do other things for this country. So on food security, you have seen that the president has moved this. If it was in kilometers, Kenya is now moved to 500,000 kilometers away from where it was in 2022 in terms of food security. If this is not something that can touch your heart, what the president has done, then nothing in this world can touch your heart. Because we now think we are on the right path, we have the correct seed, we have the correct fertilizer. All we need is now to enhance production. And I want to tell you this. Robert, the president, I've told you that his job, his commitment is empowerment. But the initial thinking, why you see that some people could be complaining, is that the president had 3 levels of this empowerment, especially in agriculture. The first level of empowerment was, let us enhance production. Whatever we are producing, the president said, we are not going to introduce even new crops yet. Whatever we are producing, let us double, triple it. Because even what we were producing was not enough. The second level is, let us now do value addition for what we have produced. The third level is look for markets for what we have done value addition on. And then finally put money in the pocket. Now, if you look at the challenges we have had in terms of resources, we are achieving the first level, which is the one of enhancing production. But now, as we go into 2025, I can read the thinking of the president. We want to enhance value addition. And in another year, in December this time, we shall be talking about more value addition, because I think people have understood where we are in terms of enhancing production.
Yeah.
They can now introduce new crops, but they know what to do to increase production. Then I think as we do that, in another year's time, we shall be at the level of now looking for markets for our value-added products. And then we shall have money. So this was what you call a medium-term program, which means it runs for 5 years. By the end of his term, President was still, as he was in 2022, going to be the most attractive candidate for the position of president.
Okay, that is about agriculture. Let's go to the issue of housing. You have seen the stories around housing, and as I speak like this, I think our programmer Mercy is aware of the footage that we should be seeing on the screen. Bila shaka hii swala la mradi huu wa kujengea nyumba wa kujenga nyumba zao ama
I don't know where you're Robert, but I don't think that you can be that short-sighted about the housing. Is it because this information and the misinformation has become more fashionable that people just are so tired they don't want to analyze? So I don't know which one, but nevertheless, let me just say, tackle this issue. The issue of housing. That's one of the best things that has happened in the Ruto administration. I have said it in other forums, and the young people of Western Kenya now listening to me, the entire not the main objective for them. People getting houses.
yeah.
The president of Kenya knows that it is not possible within the shortest time possible. The president of Kenya knows that it's not possible within the shortest time that we have in government to get everybody to get a house. The president of Kenya also knows there are people who can build houses for themselves. And he's not going to prevent them from putting up houses.
Yeah.
The problem is a lot of our people don't have houses. But also a lot of our people don't have jobs. So in the thinking of the president, why don't we put up houses for those who can afford and who can put them on that scheme?
they can still afford the housing at a lower rate, not to be exploited by big companies that like the two in the previous administrations, but also around housing, we can create manufacturing. You know, if you are manufacturing tiles and we're putting up houses, you do not need to care about the houses, but the houses will give you jobs. So you will have tiles coming out, iron sheets coming out. So we can create a whole industry around the housing scheme by entering the construction industry and making sure there are factories manufacturing materials for housing. At the local level, if you are in Western, you are in Mbale, you are in Ivika, you could be making bricks. That is an industry. So that's one. The second part of the housing, so it's about jobs. Even in the agriculture sector, there is housing, there are jobs under the manufacturing sector. But the second thing is, if you don't want the house, if you don't want to do that, then you can invest in getting a house. Collectively, as human beings, we have reached a point, and this is what the president is saying. Those of us who are privileged to raise some money to help others get jobs or even get houses at affordable prices, that is a patriotic duty for us to do. Every time, even when you go to your farm today and you produce food, sometimes you do it alone. And the people who come to work for you, Robert, they do it at a fee, you pay. But they are the ones who will come and eat free ugali. That's what we do. So if you think that everything you do for the Republic of Kenya must translate into products that you will benefit from, you are selfish, you are not patriotic, you don't even understand our constitution, Article 10, national values. You don't understand. So you need to understand that we have a duty to help others to come to our level. We are privileged. So when the president says that, he's looking at the millions of children who don't have. So if you are putting up a housing unit here, you know we have several housing units, programs within Western Kenya.
Yeah.
And if you go to Kakamega, you will find small spots. And even in
Bungoma, there is one.
Bungoma, there is one. And then you can even see these institutional houses for places like this TTI at Nabingenge. There is an institutional housing project at Kisiwa. You know that. Yeah. There is another one at Matili, several units. In Sangalo. In total, we have almost 10,000 housing unit program for which has been initiated by the president. Then, in addition to that, because that's the same ministry, we also have marketplaces. Construction of marketplaces around Ichwele, you know, Kamukuywa, there is something in Naitiri. You know all these markets. And you even when you go to Vihiga, you will find the same. You go to Busia, there are those marketplaces. We can name them. I can give you the statistics. There are many. But for purposes of time and management of time, we have these marketplaces. These marketplaces require fundis. They require sand. They require bricks, some of them. They require stone. Now, if you don't have those constructions, the young people of this country have no jobs. So, do you want us to just live, squeeze ourselves where we are? We can't develop our country. Our kids have something to do that they can't do. So housing is not just about houses. Agenda for housing by President Ruto, you must understand this. Housing is about industrialization and a job creation. That is what it is about. Those who will be lucky to get the houses, they can get the houses. How many times do you contribute money at many places, even in Arusi, weddings? You don't say, what am I getting out of this Arusi? Unless you are going to nyemelea the pride. But the point is that you are contributing because you feel. We must have a philanthropic spirit because we are not building another country. We are building our own country. Those of us who are lucky to get jobs, we do not have to keep asking, umenipa nini? Ndio nikupe. So that is the kind of President Ruto said, I think this is good for you because you are a broadcaster. President Ruto said, Kenya will not be the same. And Robert, Kenya is not the same. This revolution that is taking place under President Ruto, you know, so for some people they are in 2022. Kenya has moved. Kenya is not the same. So part of his thinking is that we must be ready to sacrifice for others. And this is the spirit. We must sacrifice for this country. So that is agenda number 2, and I think, I'm sure you are now going to the healthcare.
Healthcare, what do you have to tell us about healthcare? Because it has its own issues. Sure.
But you know, before we go to healthcare, let me tell you something. You know, Robert, the biggest housing project for the president is Kisiang'Ani.
Yes.
You saw those beautiful houses.
Yes.
Now, there are some people in this country, you see, one of the things that really the president has been concerned over, you need to spend some time with the president. Maybe I should arrange so that you meet him.
Arrange. I'll be glad.
You see, the president thinks very deeply about this country. When he's seated, he used to talk about people must get dignified jobs and a decent living. You know what? Some of the people who work in government and even private sector live in very difficult conditions. They are human beings. Now, do we just say, if they are staying at Mukuru kwa Njenga, do you think it's an accident that the president chose Mukuru kwa Njenga, which was forgotten in the previous administrations in Kenya, at Ukon slums? Why is he building houses there? If he didn't care about people there, he would not go there to build houses. He would probably go to Karen. Look at those plush estates and the put-up houses. He's going where real life is. Because he cares. And so he's telling people, we must change Kenya by responding to issues and problems where they are. So in our current circumstances, 13,000, over 13,000, you know, these Mukuru kwa Njenga houses will shortly be given out in 1 or 2 months. They are actually complete. You have seen they are complete. So we are working on other details. There are schemes in Mombasa. We have a number of areas here in Western Kenya, Kakamega, Bungoma, and Busia, which are being advertised shortly. And I need to give you data so that you can even run it on your TV stations. We have houses for, in fact, the ones you find in Mukuru, some of them are studios. You know what a studio is. So that the kids who are beginning life afresh, for the first time they are beginning to make ends meet, you don't have to push them to 3-bedroom houses. So it is very friendly, pocket friendly to the kids who might want to stay there. So we need to make these kids grow up in a dignified way. Supply water, supply electricity. So how many jobs, 13,000 units in Nairobi, how many jobs have those houses created? Just imagine yourself, mtu wa kupaka rangi, mtu wa matofari, mtu wa kutengeneza blocks, mtu wa mawe, mtu wa stima, mtu wa maji. The people who don't want President Ruto's agenda in terms of housing believe that poverty is a virtue, that poverty should be glorified. So how do you expect President Ruto to be part of that team, which is glorifying poverty so that you can control populations by enhancing poverty? The president doesn't want that. So I hope that you, especially even the people watching and the media across the country, they understand that the president is trying to solve a problem which has been there for a long time. He might not succeed to solve it in a day, but he's solving it. Nobody has ever taken over that. The housing project alone has already created over 260 jobs in this country. And we are moving on with these ones that you have in Bungoma here, in Kakamega, in Busia, in the Vihiga, the marketplaces, the institutional houses that we're going to put up. They're going to create jobs for our kids. And even at the digital level, some of the materials we are going to order, I think you live slightly far from Bungoma town. Do you really now need to physically go to a person who is supplying sand? Using the digital platforms, you can order for sand. You can order for tiles from Nairobi. The housing scheme in Bungoma is not just benefiting people from Bungoma. It is paying bills with the tile manufacturers in Eldoret, in Nairobi, in Mombasa. We order these things from far, where we think the market is right. So it has a multiplier effect to solve problems in this country. And so Kenya has moved under President Ruto, and some, in my opinion, the things he has done in the last 2 years have never been done by any government which has been in place even for 10 years.
Okay,
So
You were talking something about the health sector.
the health sector.
Have the issues to do with the SHA, and for real, SHA people have been suffering in the past 1 month. I don't know how far the government has addressed that problem.
There are two
The
things.
SHA migration.
There are two things. There are two things. Again, our people tend to focus on negative things, and I encourage them as a gift to the president of Kenya and his government. In 2025, try to just think about the positive things. Try to think about the positive things for a minute, for a day, in a month. You will find that there's so much that you have been ignoring. SHA, if you want the people of Kenya to understand SHA properly, do not talk about systems, technical systems. Let's talk about the philosophy first. I talked about agriculture. Understand the philosophy behind. Those kids who went to school a few years ago in high school, they read about Newton. You know Isaac Newton? You know, you read about gravity. Today, that simple idea about gravity has helped the aviation industry. So when, at that time, maybe nobody knew that it is an idea that can change things. How many things started like a joke in the 18th century Enlightenment period with philosophers talking about things in medicine, and today we have developed out of them. The Egyptians started with the Shaduf, but look at what that has done to irrigation across the world, the science of irrigation. So the philosophy behind SHA, the Social Health Insurance Authority, to replace NHIF is this, and I hope that Kenyans are watching this.
Yes, they're keenly watching.
The president is thinking is this. The health sector, when he took office, was dead. And he knew it was. It was dead. Why was it dead? People who fall sick of cancer, they have to be taken to India. They have to sell land. Terminal diseases, lifestyle diseases like diabetes, they can't afford the medicine. So they are left to die. When these diseases no longer, like diabetes, no longer kill people in the West. So, when we came in, there were cartels in government and the private sector. The NHIF was a source of money for many people, colluding. If you are insured on the NHIF and you have one visit to a private hospital, all the money is swept away with one visit or one admission. So government was putting money there, but the impact on the patients was zero. So the president used to think about this even during the campaign. And he talked about it in very many meetings, unless you never used to see that. But those clips are available. The president was deeply concerned that populations have to worry more about their health than about developing themselves. So he said something must be fixed. And so he said, is this problem out of hand? I'm speaking like the president because even in one sitting where he was, he asked, do you really think that this problem cannot be sorted out? So we could look at him and say, is it true? He would say, I think there is a solution. And the solution that has come out, let nobody take credit. This is the solution which was initiated by the president. And what does it address? Because I said there are two aspects of the health sector. So we want to know which one people are complaining about. So the philosophy is that people don't have to sell their land or watch their sick ones die in pain as they look helpless. So, what does SHA address? The first part that it addresses, there are three aspects. Is a normal, to make sure that President Ruto's philosophy is that people shouldn't go to hospital. Robert, have you ever thought about that? He doesn't want people in hospital. Who does not want you to go to hospital? So if he doesn't want you to go to hospital, what does he want you to do?
Stay at home.
Stay at home and be healthy. To do that, we need primary health care people who are not there in NHIF. These are people we have employed. You know, there are many. Even in Bungoma here. We have employed thousands of people on primary health care. And we shall raise more money. In 2027, 2025, 26, we pay more. These are people who will find you eating bad food. And they tell you, Robert, after some time you will get cancer. Don't eat this. They see you sprayed your tomatoes yesterday, and today you unakatia watu wanakula. They tell you, if you did a spray on your onions or tomatoes, take a week before you eat. If you eat, you will get cancer. So that they prevent you from getting what? Protect you from getting cancer. These primary health care people are not necessarily coming to treat you, but to tell you, APCD is bad, don't do it. But where you are having some symptoms also, they advise you should now see a doctor. You are overlooking this. Ukitembea unaona kizunguzungu, usikae, enda ona daktari. And now you end up in these hospitals now to do the diagnosis early so that you are treated. That's the role of the primary care health care. It was never, that service was not there. So if President Ruto has introduced this service, how does he become a bad president when we didn't have? So that's the first part. The second part of the healthcare philosophy is about now the normal diseases. Once you are admitted, how do you pay? There are people who can pay. Maybe you here, you can pay. But how many people don't pay? I've said it several times that there was a time I was paying forums. I've said, I had my daughter joining the School of Law. She had passed, but I refused to ask for money from Higher Education Loans Board and paid for her up from first year to fourth year. Because it is really ridiculous that a poor person who can't afford basics is asking for help, and here a principal secretary or a lecturer in the university is also asking. And that's how the system in the healthcare was also abused. So it's important for us to dwell on this so that you understand my point. Robert, so the question of people who can't afford, now government says, let's now see how we pay. Now they came up with a tool which you call the needs assessment tool. That tool is not perfect. It's going to be affected because it has computer implications. It has digital implications. We shall make it more perfect. If it has made any mistake, we shall deal with it so that the government can pay for those who can't afford. But the last one is not about even affording. Diseases like cancer and diabetes must be treated for free. We detect and then we treat for free. And a share. So if we are doing these kind of things to structure our health system, our people will have to worry about paying fees. Our people will have to worry about creating enough food for our people, but they don't have to worry about healthcare or losing their farm. That is what health share is. So if systems have one time not captured your name because we are making it, the system is as good as the people using it. So every time you use an application in digital, on digital platforms, it captures certain things, but you keep feeding it with the data until it becomes perfect. That's what we are doing. So if people have challenges of technology, it's not because the system is not working. We're capturing more data, it will be perfected. But the philosophy behind the health sector is to make sure that we categorize our structures and make sure that there is primary health care, there is the middle where people are admitted. Primary health care is we don't want people to come to hospital. If they go to hospital, they must go early. At the secondary level, we want people who are sick to be treated. Those who can't afford should not die because there is no treatment. Then the last one is government must take over the treatment of these big diseases so that people don't have to sell their property. That's the philosophy. But for systems, we can deal with systems. So what is the complaint about? There are people who will tell you, including your own friends, that they went to hospital even just after registering with the SHA, and for 2 days. That is not what NHIF was doing in a short while, and they ended up having a bill of 52,000 paid, even when they had not matured. NHIF used to tell us you have to stay for a month or two. Now, this is system we are glorifying called NHIF, what did it tell you about primary health care? This system you are glorifying about NHIF, what did it tell you about terminal illnesses? President Ruto is addressing what that system could not address. And I hope that in 2025, our people, our beloved people in this country, are going to rally behind all the projects of the president, including this SHA, to make sure it succeeds. So in government, there is no conflict about how it is working. We know there's no system which has no challenges, but we are up to the task. The teething technological problems will go. But the philosophy behind the SHA, which the president has brought to the fore, must be understood, and we move with him to address the problem.
What can you tell us about how SHA and NHIF address terminal illnesses, and how SHA and NHIF address the issue of maturity? Maturity of the policy that you have taken.
Today, if you pay, if today you have you registered your relative and a friend? Robert, if you register today with SHA, and tomorrow you fall sick,
you'll be treated.
We shall treat you and pay you. Pay the insurance.
So SHA works instantly.
It works instantly. And that's why we're telling people, even during this Christmas period, go and register. NHIF would even keep you for a month. They will tell you the card should mature. When you are sick, how can you wait to be treated after 1 month? You will already be in the grave. So this maturity, there was a lot of weakness in NHIF. The people who have been fighting SHA wanted the status quo. What is unfortunate
Who
is...
are they? Doctors, hospitals?
I think it's a whole... You know, I don't want to single out anybody, but I want to tell you this. You know who the beneficiaries of NHIF were? Some of the hospitals were. Some of the doctors were. Not all, but some of the hospitals were. I am sure you had problems how you lost all your insurance within a short time. When I say, you can't be admitted again. So these are things that the president is trying to cure to ensure that we are in a position to stabilize our health sector. Because this country, the president can't look after a sick country and be proud of that. We have to fix this. Just like we are fixing. You can't look at a country which is hungry, it has no food. That's why the president is fixing that. You can't live in a country which has no jobs. That's why he's fixing it around agriculture and industrialization. So around here also, he's looking at the question, can we keep a population? Keep a population which is so sick, and you're talking about transforming Kenya. How do you transform Kenya when you are not interested in the healthcare systems of the people? So that is what SHA is. So the first thing is, think about the philosophy behind SHA. What was crossing the president's mind to save people the things I've mentioned? But don't discuss the technological problems. Even sometimes you come here, you walk around here in Bungoma, you are in Kakame. Sometimes you want to send money, and then the M-Pesa doesn't work. You know, we call Safaricom, and they say, okay, let us check the system. And they check the system, and it works. So, the digital superhighway. Because we have two more.
Yeah, we are talking about ICT. First, before we go to ICT and digital superhighway, Safaricom has been offering very poor services to the people of Bungoma, Western Kenya, and Nyanza and North Rift. I don't know as a ministry what are you doing.
I've already written a letter to Safaricom. They replied to me because we had even some breakdown at the beginning of the movement of money about over a month ago. Yeah. I wrote them. Yeah. One weekend was very bad, yeah. And they have given me some explanation because it comes under my docket. They have replied. I'm looking at the reasons they have given, but they already... Yes, we have looked at that. There are issues that they may be beyond their control, because a lot of systems within the ICT sector are being upgraded. We have the backbone and with the redundancy, which backs us when we are repairing systems. Sometimes it's not a Safaricom problem, but where it is a problem within the ministry, We always alert them through the Minister of, through the Communication Authority of Kenya. I'm on top of things. I've already spoken to them, so I don't want to preempt the outcome. They have written to me. I'm looking at the reasons where I think they have not performed very well. I'll have a meeting at the beginning of the year because they gave me that explanation just the other day. So the minister has already taken action, and I'm sure as we begin the new year, if they need any support from government, whatever we can, we shall support them to improve services. They are also a business company, and you know, I'm sure they cannot be happy for their business not to have network. So don't be too harsh on Safaricom. Don't be too harsh on any other.
Take this example, Professor.
Yes.
This is a house. You have built this is your house now, and then you have built this house for 2 individuals, 2 occupants. It reaches a point whereby these 2 occupants now give back to many children, and now you are having 60 children or 60 occupants in the same house.
Yes.
Is it a problem facing Safaricom? They have oversubscribed.
I think that is not correct.
Their machines.
No, I think they have capacity to upgrade their machines. You know, what is not known to people, there are technical things about signal allocations internationally. Safaricom doesn't operate like an isolated company. It has quite a lot of infrastructure that supports the government. But there are certain things that we need also to do, and everybody needs to do to improve services. They can do their bit. Wananchi should do their bit. Government can do their bit, including maintenance of infrastructure that is there. You have seen some infrastructure being vandalized by people, and then there is no network. Then you blame Safaricom. So if you vandalize certain infrastructure, you are sure that the services will be interfered with. So I think that the concern is genuine. The minister has already taken over. You should get back to me the first 2 weeks of January. I am looking at the explanation, and where we have some issues, they will be sorted out, so that there is no deliberate move by any company. In any case, if they did that, I would withdraw their licenses. But I haven't seen anything untoward, which makes me feel there is a deliberate thing, move to cut signals or do something that is not right. So Robert, you can count on that. And but of course you also know that we have quite liberalized the industry. Safaricom is doing its work, but we have also licensed. Lately we licensed the Starlink. Yes. So people, wananchi have options. This government of President Ruto is not a protectionist government. We want to have as many players in this industry alone, and if you also want to apply for a license to do what Starlink is doing or Safaricom, and you have capacity.
I have already applied for one.
I need to see it, and if it fits in our thinking, I think, and then follows the rules that are put in place.
Yes.
By Parliament, then we can license you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, from our social media pages, thank you very much. Hila has Halma. You are saying you are following keenly. Empress Maside here saying, following live from Bungoma County. Say hi to PS and tell him he's doing good job to the community by giving out football attires and computers so that learners can be able to get skills of computers, while those who are talented also to showcase their talents. Big up, Prof.
Yes, tell them that it's not just Bungoma, because you remember during Mashujaa Day I was in Kwale, and I did the same things that you are talking about.
Yes.
There's Kwale Polytechnic, the Technical Institute, Vocational Institute. We fired up the internet, and then we also gave computers. We have done it in Likuyani, we have done it in Nandi, we have done it across the country.
Mumias West.
We have done it in Waithaka, this Polytechnic, which is in Mheshimiwa Kiaries constituency at the correct south.
Yes.
So it's a massive support for our people, but it supports the president. So the second thing that I need the person to the compliments he's giving me.
Yes.
You say it's Masinde.
Masinde.
Please tell Masinde that the compliments he's giving me are not correct. Although I appreciate everything I've done. Whether here in Bungoma or Kakamega. Just about a few weeks ago, I was in Kakamega. You remember, We did something at Mumias. And of course, we have already done, connecting hospitals like Yebwaya, Yebwai, and then at the National Polytechnic at Kakamega. We have done these things. When you see Kisiang'Ani in Western,
Yes.
you see a public servant like me coming in Western, and he has something to give to the people. Uyo mtu, that person should never claim they are bringing anything to the people. The president is the one who tells us what to do. So anything I've done in Bungoma here is not mine.
It's not yours.
The balls, I can remember the balls that many places I've given. Those balls I was given by the president.
Okay.
You can confirm with the State House.
Okay.
The computers we have ever given out,
Yes.
President told us, take this to my people. Whether it's a water project, because there are people who take false accolades
Yeah.
from what the president is doing. And I think there are not very few in Western. I was here during Madaraka Day and I said, hii uwanja wa this stadium at Kandui,
Masinde Muliro.
that stadium, the building of that stadium was initiated by the president.
Not another
No,
leader.
Robert, don't listen to those things. And I speak plainly.
Yes.
I told you these roads that passes through Kandui up to
The Bungoma Town.
yes. I had some beautification. That money was released through the instructions of the president. So the president does things, and some people, I plead with my people. If people are giving you things from their farm, tell them, thank them. But as government servants, government leaders, we are serving the president because he has legitimacy which he derives from the people of Kenya. He's the one who was voted as president. If he says things cannot happen, he has legitimacy because he has votes. How can voterless people like myself or you or your friends sit somewhere in a social place and start cheating people? They are doing things in Bungoma. These things are being done by the president. I will tell you, look at the Sugar Act. The Sugar Act, I think the people of Bungoma, Kakamega, Busia, who grow cane, and even the larger Rift Valley, and even the Western, they know that the president signed the Sugar Act. If the president didn't sign the Sugar Act, it would not be law. But among the things the president was crying about is how there is wastage at the way bridges. The law now protects farmers. The payment, the zoning into 5 zones of the sugar belt with a director at least in each. Many things. The production of seed, which is quality. If you weigh sugarcane, it must be, the sugarcane must be measured in terms of the sucrose it has, the content.
Content, yes.
So let people take, these are the concerns the president has been having, the wastage in the sugar industry. And then, of course, even with the sugar factories like Nzoia, we held meetings with the president several times with the leaders here. The president's concern was that we need to modernize the way we do our sugar industry. In many countries across the world, like Egypt, which is a Muslim country, table sugar is a byproduct. But the main product is the ethanol, which is for pharmaceuticals, the spirits. So they make more money there. So the value addition the president wants to fix in the sugar industry is also around the value addition. I mean, around how many products we can raise around the sugar. But also, we have poor quality seed, poor management. And the president's proposal was that, for example, for Nzoia, and I want to tell you this, Robert, because we are here, I want to make a small correction. President Ruto has not, and is not going to sell any sugar factory.
Including in Nzoia?
They are not selling.
Wow.
You know, these stories, I think, let us be a little a little polite. The president has never said he can sell a sugar factory. What the president has been saying is that we can get strategic investors. Some of the dates which the president instructed people to the parliament and to discuss and then finally recommend, they recommended and he signed to have the debts paid off. But that allows the sugar factories now to invest in new machinery. Then we can also, you can't bring in a strategic investor in sugar, the sugar industry, when the place he is supposed to do strategic investment has a lot of debts. So the president has cleared part of this. He has reformed the sugar sector to make sure it can have more investment, Robert, so that this sugar sector can attract more people and value addition. So if today I have a company and I tell you, Robert, I may be struggling to pay salaries. Can you come as a strategic investor, put in some money, and after a short period of time, after some time, you recoup your money and go away? Will I have sold the factory?
No, what was the Kenya Gazette notice saying about the sale of farms like in Nzoia, non-performing farms?
Yes, that is a different topic. That's a different topic. The topic you're talking about is not about Nzoia. There are many factories which are, many parastatals which are taking money from treasury, but they produce nothing. It's not just a sugar factory. We have several parastatals who can't pay even salary. They have directors, they have executive, several accountants, but they produce nothing. So do we continue taxing Kenyans to maintain them? So if Nzoia becomes part of that, then it can only become part of the parastatals to be disposed of by government only if it can resist, if it is resisting changes. Because now you are inviting government to say, let us continue pumping money into Nzoia sugar factory. It is making losses. They tax you and me to continue paying salaries. But we'll tell them, why don't we bring in a strategic investor to work with government and then increase the production? You say no. That one now, therefore, if the government pulls out of it, then it remains now to be solved. And it's not the only one. It's a parastatal reform program where we're looking at the options. One option is to inject new investors with new capital, new machinery, and then they can pick up. In other cases where it's not possible, we say government cannot continue with this. So the president is not targeting any sugar factory for sale. It's part of the parastatal reform program to see how many other parastatals are not doing very well. The first option in government is not to sell. What is the business model which can resurrect them? If that business model is not working and the people are resisting, they don't want that business model, surely you will not recommend that we keep paying money to parastatals and then they get nothing. Some reforms must go around there. So a discussion is still going on about the parastatal reform program, and the government will only do it as a last resort. But if we bring in investors who can bring Nzoia to the top, and if you know of any who wants to do that, you can recommend that, so that we see their business model.
So the process is still open because Nzoia has been selling sugar, and then also being given government support, but the staffs have been rioting. They don't have salaries.
Yes.
Why is this happening?
Do you know that the government has brought in a lot of money in that place? So long as there is no continuous flow of revenue, even if we brought 20 billion shillings to Nzoia today, they will go for a few months and the money will be exhausted. So the kind of support that we're looking for is when we give them that money, can they now pick up and continue making money? You remember the story in Mumias during the time of President Kibaki and then even President Uhuru, they would bring in 4 billion shillings and then after 2 months, 3 months, they can't pay salary. So do you want us to continue that way? I think in this community we are in, everybody should get involved in this conversation. What's the best way? We have several options. Do we continue telling government to be paying salaries for people who are supposed to be producing revenue of their own, and then every 3 months they are broke, we pay, and they are producing? Or do we bring in a strategic investor to deal with management and financial leakages?
Who doesn't want to make losses?
Who doesn't want to make losses, and who also employs a lean staff to make them start doing profit making. They turn into profit making. You have seen those parastatals that agreed to change and start. I'm sure you have heard about some parastatals which are now making. They used to make losses. They have started making money.
Money. Mm-hmm.
You have read a few.
Yeah, a few.
Yes. So can we translate that model into Nzoia, Mumias, and then we see whether they can make money? And for me, if you ask me as a suggestion, I have a suggestion, and I've suggested it elsewhere. The leadership of this area should probably discuss this matter very seriously. What we need at Nzoia to make money is to do value addition. We make sure that the sugar you call spoon sugar is a byproduct. So even if we sell it at a loss, that sugar will not affect us. But we turn and bring in machinery which can produce as much ethanol as possible. That's one line of value addition. The second line of value addition is production of power. You have seen vehicles called hybrid vehicles.
Yes.
It means they can use fossil-based and biofuels. So we contribute a certain percentage of what comes out within the ethanol network to do the biofuel mixed with fossil. That is another section of value addition. The third section of value addition is to turn, if you look at this bagasse, the bagasse in Egypt is put together with the rice husks to produce paper. So can we mix the bagasse with the rice husks to produce paper? The paper you use in the photocopying rooms in Bungoma and everywhere in Kenya, most of it is imported from countries which mix bagasse plus rice husks to make paper. That's another line of value addition. You don't need to pan paper to produce paper using trees. That is the old-fashioned way. Trees, we want more trees, not to cut them for paper. So that's another. The fourth channel with the sugar industry will be to produce electricity. The fifth one will be to produce animal feed. You have seen how we play around with molasses. We can do animal cakes around there, and we do value addition. So quite a lot of things. So the thinking around Nzoia to improve the revenue collection, if we focus on those and many other aspects of value addition, Nzoia will start to recover very shortly. And that is the thinking of President Ruto. So if you really think about only sugar, the tablespoon sugar, Brazil, which has that value addition, even if it sold a quarter the price of sugar to Kenya, it makes no losses, because the value addition that is already there is enough to give Brazil enough money out of the sugar industry. So I think I have made my case, and I think that if that thinking is right, rather than us criticizing and some people saying certain rumors which is not true about the president, about his government, let us think like that strategically and see how can we change our sugar sector. It's not just here, it's also the sugar is in Nyanza, it's in Rift Valley. In his own home area there are sugar plantations. We in south up to the coast. We can still revamp this industry to produce as much money as we want, and we can improve the quality of life of the farmers, their children, by just thinking about the value addition. If you know already what the president has done within the sugar industry, Robert, you see that today the importation of sugar has almost died. Because even with what we are producing, we are almost crossing the line of not importing. So which means his philosophy of enhancing production, which I talked about, of what we are already producing is good. So we are moving, because even this fertilizer, the subsidy, is also with the sugar farmers. And I think you know it. They have even received the vouchers. So if we can enhance sugar production, that's fine. We don't have to import. But what is ailing the sugar industry is the point at which we do value addition, we are almost zero. So let's do the value addition and sell the tablespoon sugar which we get on our tables every breakfast at the lowest levels. We shall recoup a lot of money. I think President Ruto has sometimes he gets to a point where he thinks people are not getting it. And we have a duty as government leaders, I'm his PS, his appointee. I hope you understand. You understand?
You are his appointee, or you are suggested by a party.
No. don't bring that. I'm supposed.
Because we know this government has been formed by negotiations among political blocs. Maybe you belong in one, and then you are not recognizing that, Professor.
No, Robert, don't go there. I'm just saying, as his appointee, I'm supposed to understand him, and I'm hoping that the people who are listening to me,
yes,
are getting the point.
Yes.
Where we have failed to explain, maybe we're explaining. But as far as your questions, you know I'm not a guy who runs away from questions.
Yes.
So I'm not going to dodge.
Okay, don't dodge.
I was appointed by President Ruto.
Okay.
Not Robert. So, and...
you are not a product of the 30%.
No, don't talk about those things. You don't understand. Okay. Even the people, you know what? There's only one president. He's the one who forms government.
Sure.
So he decides who he wants to work with. And he's not a president who doesn't know people. All these appointees you see everywhere, not just here in Western Kenya. They are appointees of the president. Sasa hiyo siasa yenu ya kusema ati we Robert ndio umeappoint watu. Stop it. We are all appointees of president. President Ruto has appointed people in government in Western Kenya. I'm one of them.
Okay.
And our loyalty is to him. He is the president. Do you want me to repeat that he is the president?
Repeat it.
He is the president of the Republic of Kenya.
Yes.
And he chooses his team the way he wants. Watu wanakuja wakiwaambia porojo ati mimi nilisaidia fulani kuappoint mwingine. You vitu, why do you even listen to them? Because they are lies. The president doesn't work like that. You want to tell me that he doesn't know the people he works with?
He knows.
He knows. So, these politics, maybe also as we go into the new year, I plead with people, not just here in Western Kenya, don't try to give credit which belongs to the president to other people. Hao watu pia wangoje watakuwa president, wachague timu yao. Lakini watu wote ambao, wewe nakuuliza Robert, ukitaka hao watu wako kwa studio wakuwe minister, na president asikubali, wewe utaenda wapi?
Itakuwa amekataa, ni nyumba yake.
So why do you keep on saying, wao watu walichaguliwa na nani? All of us were appointed by the president.
In the government.
In the government. Nobody can take credit. If you're taking credit, ni pengine huna kazi ya kufanya. But if there are people who are busy, so don't bring that debate in the studio. The studio is, you want to talk about the things you are talking about, those are rumors in the streets. President Ruto knows everybody he has appointed. It doesn't matter which party, it's a parastato, an ambassador, a PS. He is always in charge, he knows his stuff. So, whether you are in Kakamega, Busia, Nyanza, don't bring things which don't exist and you start making them a topic, a huge topic. If it's just for making fun, especially during Christmas here, you can make fun. Yeah, but you can even say that my grandfather is the one who appointed so and so. So you can say those things. Also, they can be accepted because they are for entertainment. But when serious talk begins, all of appointees in government have been made by the president. He chooses who to work with. Those who claim they have appointed anybody in government should stop it and wait to form their own government. They will appoint their own people, and we shall also give them credit.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So there were two things. That
you are talking still about two items. That is ICT
and climate change.
And climate change. Okay, let's go to ICT now. You have already talked about the ICT, but we can continue about it. Then we go to climate change.
I think we can't emphasize enough. I've told you that there are several hospitals here. We have actually 74 institutions, 74,000 institutions across Kenya. And within the ICT sector, there are many things which happen, which the public needs to know. Basically, there is infrastructure setup. There is digital skilling. You get the point?
Yes.
And of course, the connectivity.
Yeah.
So the infrastructure is being put where you get the Wi-Fi's, they lie under that. But also, going along that, even the ministry has a program where we are also doing digital skilling. And some of that, the digital skilling is being done at the innovation hubs. We want every ward, we have 1,450 wards across the country, at least to have a local hub where kids can go to train in digital skilling. I think you know about the Wi-Fi system.
Yeah.
When we started and we were doing internet connectivity, we realized that we started digging. But one day the president called us and said, this digging, is there any other innovative method we can use to make it cheaper, but to make sure as many people in the country get connected? We thought at that time we didn't have quick answers. But the president himself says, look, we have Kenya Power. Why don't we try? So he initiated discussions with the Kenya Power team, and we just realized that digging is very expensive. We have actually saved money. Now we have moved from digging of the trenches. Now we are doing the green wire you have seen. It's going to be moved through the Kenya Power lines. And by that, we think in another few years, we shall have connected 8,600,000 houses. So, which means because the line can end up in the meter. So we have changed the way we do the connectivity and the infrastructure. So that's what he's doing, because again, it's being done within the level for empowerment. And you have seen, alongside that also, as now we shall be moving the electric lines, we also move the green line, the fiber optic. So what is the philosophy behind what President Ruto is doing with regard to digitization? It is not a fashion show. Robert, this is serious business. The school as we used to know is dead. People can still set up a virtual school within the banana plantation. The thing that is going to drive our country, it is going to be less expensive to do business. If you can still have all these gadgets in your home, you have a radio station, you have a TV station. But if you have to rent a building like this one, if today we enable you to have all those gadgets in your home, would you want to rent anywhere here?
No.
That's what the president is doing. So you will have more money in your pocket. Sticking to one thing for a long time, even when it's not benefiting you, is not good. So the president has, a lot of things are going on around the digital platforms. And even in our ministry, and especially with the Communication Authority of Kenya, where I am, they are under me, we look at the question of frequencies. Traditional frequencies have become scarce, Robert.
Yeah.
And they are very important for communication. So, for example, internationally, they could allocate you to 89.9 to 99.9. If you cross 99.9, then you are in Uganda. You are interfering with them.
Yeah.
It will cause war. So you have to stick everybody 90.1, 0.0, 0.5, until all these broadcasters are within that range. That's why you call it the spectrum.
Yes.
Now, we think, I have been in international forums, we think that the traditional frequencies as we knew them are not going to solve our problems. They are inadequate, they are scarce resources. So we have to think outside the box. And that's why you have seen Elon Musk plus his Starlink has been allowed to come in, because it can deal with certain things. we have options through the low-hanging orbital, the orbital pieces,
Yeah.
which can help us to pick signals on the surface of the earth and transmit, so that it can subsidize for the traditional frequencies. So quite a lot of reforms are taking place, and both in the radio, television industry, in our ministry we have already set up a sector working group which brought in a report. There are certain things we want to implement in this sector which don't require parliamentary approval. There are others which require legislation. So this year, 2025, we are going to be very busy to implement what the sector working group recommended. Some of them came from the media on how to make this sector vibrant. So where we need legislation, we do it. Where we need cabinet approval, we do it. Because we are in a situation where we're in a traditional investment mode for this sector, which worked in the 1960s but cannot work today.
Yes.
So I think on that note, I think 2025 would be a year of action in that regard. And the reason why we also want to do that is because if we don't empower the expansion of facilities within the ICT space, the innovations that are required, we cannot drive our agenda in housing. We cannot drive our agenda in universal healthcare. Already we have powered hospitals, we have given them connectivity, but we need to have the state-of-the-art facilities around there, the infrastructure for communication. So the ministry is quite busy working on that. We need to revamp the post office and use the technical things that the infrastructure to do the national addressing system, so that people can deliver last mile deliveries. They will depend on that infrastructure.
Sure.
And so even the training of our journalists, the training of our artists, this requires quite a lot of work. So there's quite a lot of work going on there. And as the president migrates a whole population on the digital platform, the challenges will also mount, but we are up to the task.
Okay.
So I don't want to overemphasize the fact that the president wanted us to migrate here, run the economy on a digital platform, because it reduces expenditure for doing business, creates more jobs for our people, and has more convenience because you can do it anywhere. That's what the president thinks about, and we think we are on the right pathway. Now, the last one, on the agenda of the president, is climate change. I think you know where we are. The government pledge is to grow 15 billion trees in the medium term up to 2027. That's what we are doing. Every ministry has its own what? Its own target. So we have distributed it even across parastatals. What does that mean? We save our climate from collapse, but also create jobs. What you are supposed to do here next time, there is a ministry which is allocated to grow trees in Bugoma. In my state department, in the ministry, we are allocated to Nandi and Kisii. So that's why you see me in Kisii. I've been planting trees there.
Yeah, I've seen you planting several trees.
In Kisii.
Hundreds of them.
Yes. But I also planted in Kwale.
Yeah. And also Bomet.
Wananijua. So, but if for a special request we come here, we can come and also plant trees here, but we shall not buy the seedlings from Nairobi. So if there are kids who want to start business in making seedlings preparing seedlings for traditional indigenous trees, we shall buy here and plant here. Those are jobs. But at the international level, the president has been at the forefront to talk about climate change. Africa is in trouble, Robert. We contribute only about less than 5% of the carbon emissions.
Less than 5%?
To the atmosphere. But now the ozone layer is getting perforated every day because of the industrial north. They contribute over 95% of the carbon emissions, the green gases into the atmosphere. So when the president assumed power, he asked the Western nations, how can you produce these carbon emissions to destroy our environment, to hurt Africa without any mitigation? That is what catapulted him to the level where now he's the chief environmentalist in the world. And
Yeah, I
that
watched
has
that speech.
so that has also elevated our country to another level. So we are not just local. The president has international appeal. So when you hear these things being said, many people out there have traveled. They respect our president. So he's not doing it for Kenya. And you have to give him credit how he can promote people. You can see he's supporting a Kenyan for the AU position.
Yeah.
Robert, if you also, you never know what he will. He could suggest you for another job.
Yeah.
Because, we have to build Kenya and be patriotic to our country. And to do that, let's go by what he's saying. He's saying we must have a united nation. He's uniting the country around issues of transformation, not around personal things. So we support him in his agenda to achieve the 6 pillars, but also to promote the unity of our country, where we live together in peace. We can have differences about the issues, but as we get differences, let everybody say what they think can be done better. This idea of people withdrawing into anonymous destinations and names and then abusing people is not good.
Yeah.
Let's offer solutions. And if you think that people are not doing well, what would you be an alternative? So the question that you'll be asking is, today the president has brought down the cost of living. First of all, the dollar was 170 when he came into office. Today the dollar is just 128.29. So those who are opposing President Ruto, did you want the dollar to remain at 170? Question number one. I'm asking questions because I hope people will answer.
Yeah.
Now, the president came into power, into office, when the cost of maize meal, at least Joko, was 280. Today it's below 130, and in fact, locally, if you just buy it in a tin from the local maize here, it's probably less than 100. Did you want the president to leave the price of maize meal to 280? I want to ask now the critics of the president, because I'm inviting for a discussion. So, the president has now grown trees. He has mobilized his government to improve our environment. He is cleaning Nairobi River. Did you want him to leave the Nairobi River dirty so that you can say he's a good man? I want to ask this because I'm talking to our fellow Kenyans wherever they are.
Yes.
The president,
Sending feedback here.
yes, the president has said that he wants us to have food secure. The price of fertilizer was out of reach. And the wrong fertilizer, by the way, DAP. He has now brought the right fertilizer. That's why the food production has improved. So was the president wrong to bring the price of fertilizer from 7,000 to 2,500? Would you rather, those who are criticizing the president, that this fertilizer should be 10,000? I ask these questions. They are very emotional questions, but they are questions that Kenyans should answer, even as we go into 2025. The president knows that many people have sold their land in order to treat their loved ones in India. Now he's starting a health system that addresses that. When he does that, he becomes wrong. So how do you want him to leave as many Kenyans go to India without government caring for treatment or selling their land? Is that the Kenya we have been yearning for? So these are small things, but they are big in a way. The president is trying to reform the education sector. And now you look at the education sector. When he came in fact, CPC
You can briefly talk about the university funding model.
Let me tell you again.
Have we found a solution?
Yes,
Last
the
time
solution.
you were here, you said they were working on
Yes,
something.
yes, they are working. The solution is there. I tell you that quite, the bottom line on that university funding thing is to check the needs assessment too. Because that's the complaint people have been having, that
Yeah, they have been placed in wrong bands.
yes. So all we need to do, and that's what's being finalized, the needs assessment tool. And I said, as you feed in more data, the needs assessment tool becomes more and more accurate. So that's all we need. But the philosophy behind it is, I've told you, there are people who can afford to pay for their children, but they are the ones who take away all the money from help. So would you rather we remain with the status quo, where the children of Kisiang'Ani and Robert are the ones getting help, but his neighbors who can't afford anything have their kids at home? So where did you think, what do you want? So suggest the alternative. From fertilizer 2,500 to 7,000 to 2,000. If you suggest 15,000, I will be interested to hear from you as a Kenyan. Is that what you wanted the president to do? To push the fertilizer to 15,000, then he becomes a good man. These things, Robert, I'm speaking from the heart. You get a point? There are so many kids, not just here in Western Kenya. There are kids at the coast, northern Kenya. They looked hopeless. They couldn't get jobs. It's not something you can fix overnight, but you have to get a process that accommodates people for a long time. Through digital platforms, things are slowly changing. We have crossed the Bad River. Kids now, through this digitization, are seeing opportunities which were never there. Give it another 2 years, you will see the opportunities going up. And people will say, so how are people coping without it? So would you like, there are people in this country who say, if Kisiang'Ani has a television, the neighbor shouldn't have because the neighbor is down there. The reason why our president has been facing challenges in this country and the government is because he overturned a system which was not working. He's addressing the people who are ignored and neglected. Those who had taken advantage of these people who are ignored and neglected have an issue with the president. So, as we go into 2025, it's not enough to make noise, to create networks and platforms that spoil the name of government or the president. Pick specific issues. If it is a system which is not working in terms of applications for computer, internet, it can be fixed. You know, it's never fixed. Even in America, sometimes systems fail. But understand the philosophy behind President Ruto's actions. They are based on a very serious and critical thinking. Do we leave our country to continue like this? So that 10 years down the line, we are worse off than we are now. Was Ruto wrong to stabilize the shilling? Was President Ruto wrong to pay the debts he never himself took? So that our international rating improved. Where did he go wrong by doing that? I think all of us in government, and especially the Kenya Kwanza Administration, have a duty to explain to the people the truth. And the truth lies in what the president has always told us in closed doors and in public. And he's been telling us, let us think about the people first, not ourselves. And so when we go out there to tell people wrong things, they think that is where the truth is. But the things that I'm outlining under MSME, healthcare and settlement, when the president says, let government put up houses, and Robert, you live here in Bungoma, and he says, or Kakamega, and he says, I want us to put up 10,000 houses. Do you ever think that there are opportunities for your children, your brothers, to be suppliers of electronics, to be suppliers of building materials? If you don't see that as an opportunity for jobs, for people to pay school fees, what sort of human being are you? I think that is the agenda of the president general across And I think that 2025, as it comes, this is Christmas, we think that he has now set the pace. We have done the foundational things in government, which is good. And now all of us, as we start the new year, we must work like we have never worked. Even you, I always tell you I wake up at 5.
Yeah.
So maybe 2025 I should even think about waking up at 4.
At 4.
Yes. Because
Don't
I must,
develop health issues.
no, I am as desperate as my colleagues in government to make sure the president's agenda succeeds. Because he has always told you failure is not an option. So we can't fail. We shall work. But there is a need also for the entire nation to rally around him. The most of the things that derail us from working together are not important. So let's leave these things which are not important. This country of ours requires peace and stability. It is adored by many parts of the world, many people in the world. It has a UN office. Everybody thinks Kenya is great, and indeed it is great. We have a duty to protect that greatness and make sure things always work. The challenges will continue. As you get into new experiences, there will always be challenges, Robert. But these challenges should not make people look like life has come to an end. We are lucky to have this president. So I've surveyed all the...
Yeah, you have surveyed all the areas. Sasa swali ambalo niko nalo ni la wananchi. Na ni swali la mwisho na liko na ya kwanza ni kuhusu vile vibonzo ambavyo vimekuwa vinatembea katika social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, wapi, TikTok sana, wakati ambapo kumetokea picha mbalimbali mdhalilisha rais. Halafu kidogo swali la pili likakujia hapo kwamba kuna wale ambao labda walihusika katika kutoa vibonzo hivyo wamepata kutekwa nyara na hawapatikani mahali waliko. Haya masuala mawili unaweza kuyajibu vipi? Kwanza kuhusu vibonzo, are Kenyans justified to do whatever they are doing with those caricatures and whatever? Secondly, this issue of abductions, how are they linked to whatever that was being claimed?
Now, hivi vibonzo naona vimeenezwa katika mtandao ni ishara tosha kwamba wazazi wamekosa kuwajibika. Wazazi, these kids we have, after these kids have finished with what they are doing with the government, they will do the same to the parents. And I hope it won't hurt you parents who are listening to me.
Yes. Utaona tu umechorwa umewekwa kwa jeneza.
Yes. So,
kama
parents in this country should stop supporting children who are destroying our value system. Which value system says young kids should look up to those who came earlier than them for leadership and guidance. Even in the kingdom of God, there is order. Children have elevated themselves to levels where they think they are adults, they are more intelligent than their parents. Time has come for us to do a national conversation. I see some parents like of my age, man, cheering children. If today I'm your age mate, Robert, and my child goes out and starts just abusing you, and I start supporting my child, I am a failure as a parent. So these kids are our kids, but let us not support our kids when they are doing wrong things. So that is what has caused these things. The kids are going beyond the bar to say things, to disrespect elders. Our African value system has a place for kids. It has also a place for adults.
Yes.
So if these kids are taking over the roles of adults, this society is going to be chaotic and unmanageable. So It is not a government problem. It is our societal problem. We have to call the children to order. Tell them, even if they don't care about us as parents, one day they will realize the mistake they have made. We grew up without abusing our parents. Are we bad children?
No.
So, what heroism are our young people going to get by abusing a duly elected president? Do they want us to treat them like that when they become president? Because they are candidates for minister, PS, in future. Those are the people who will be available. What sort of respect do they want us to accord them when they become minister, president? That is when they realize how the shoe pinches. So I would call upon everybody as a public servant, even the church, let us not celebrate kids who are doing wrong things. Let us teach these values from everywhere. Let parents take over. Let's not protect evil things like these caricatures you are seeing. Creativity is not about hurting people. Some of the things they post on Mtandao, you don't want to see them with your daughter, Robert. And by the way, as you say, you don't want to see them with your daughter, she could be the one who posted them.
No.
So that's the point.
Culture.
That's
By
the
way,
point. So why would we
you can never tell where they are coming from.
So it is something that must prick our national conscience. The country cannot continue like this. We must tell kids that this is wrong. That's what parenting is. Parenting is not praising kids when they do wrong things. It's tell them, this one, we reward you, it is good. But this one is wrong. But I have seen, when these kids do these wrong things, it is the adults who are cheering them. These kids will catch up with you after they are through with us in government.
Yeah,
And so
lastly, about abductions, is it propaganda?
No, the abductions, you know what? First, I want to start by saying this. This government does not do abductions. It doesn't. If there is any officer who is doing it, they are doing it alone. And the president has been here. But there are very many question marks around that abduction, which I don't want to discuss.
That's why I'm asking whether is it a choreographed propaganda by a group?
I want to speak from the point of view of government. It is not a government thing. So you can make your own conclusion. It's not government. People can say things. What do you think? What would President Ruto gain?
By abducting a Kenyan.
Yes. What does he gain? If you look at him as the way he is, what does he gain?
Hiyo ni kura zake zinapotea tena.
Yes. So I'm making it clear, very clear. I'm in charge of the media industry, social media. Why is it that even when they did so many bad things, I could not close media houses or close down the internet? The only thing that happened when we wanted to control a platform and we talked to the media is when they were trying to interfere with the national exams. So I took charge to save the national exams. But I didn't close down any system.
Or withdraw licenses.
Or withdraw licenses. That is just, I said, I'm President Ruto's appointee. And I didn't do it. He has never called me to say close a media house. He has never called me to say interfere with the people. My brothers and sisters in the executive ranks, including PSS, have never said anybody has called them to say go and abduct. So the government has never put in place a policy to abduct. So before you make those conclusions, go and find out the facts around each abduction. Time has come for you in the media to also be very critical. When you hear somebody saying, so and so was abducted by vehicle A, vehicle B, they even know the vehicle, how it was, driven. So, just to find out how this story really moves from one part to another, how smooth it looks. President Ruto is, in my opinion, one of the most tolerant leaders we have had since independence. Even when the Gen Zs provoked him, he went and talked to them. He joined their space. That's not a person who can initiate these things you are talking about. So, talk about abductions, put away the name of the president. He is not involved. I'm his peers and I'm telling you the truth. The president is not involved. He has not instructed anybody to do the abduction. That's why he has also said, anybody who has done that, the rule of law will take its place. So, but for you also critically look at each case and look through, go through with a fine comb. Maybe you will call me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Labda Prof, asante sana. Labda la mwisho kumalizia manake tumepewa dakika 2 kukamilisha. Labda umefanya mengi mwaka 2024 na sasa tunaingia mwaka 2025. Umepeana kompyuta kwa mashule, umepeana mipira kwa football teams, umepeana mradi wa stima kule na Kalira, nimeona wamewasha juzi, wanatembea usiku, wanafanya kazi 24 hour economy imeingia kule na Kalira na sehemu zingine, na vile vile wamesaidia miradi ya maji katika eneo hili la magharibi. Labda kiwizara, mipanga ambayo mko nayo kwa dakika 2 tu, mipanga mko nayo mwaka 2025 kuimarisha sekta yetu ya habari na vile vile personally kuendeleza miradi yako kwa kusaidia wananchi.
Kitu cha kwanza ambacho naweza kuelezea Robert ni kwamba sisi miradi ambayo umeona hiyo ya Nakalira na watu wanakaa hapa, miradi ambayo uliona hapo Mumias mpaka huko Mumias East, unajua huko
ndio,
alafu hii ilifanyika Kakamega, umeniona huko. Mwingine ilikuwa Likuyani, umeniona mkoa wa Magharibi. Na maji ambayo imechimbwa na stima, watu wanakalira, mipira ambayo nilipeana Maraka, mipira ambayo nilipeana Kuywa, mipira ambayo nilipeana hapa Bungoma Town, Maeni, makompyuta kama zile huko
Kimaleo na Itiri,
huko Likuyani tena,
St. Anne's,
Nzoia huko karibu na mpaka wa Zingishu. Hiyo vitu yote ambavyo wananchi wa Bungoma na Western wote wamepata na mmeniona huko, nilitumwa na rais. Sasa hapo mimi watu hao
washukuru rais,
waambie washukuru rais.
Wewe ni kijana wa mkono.
Mimi niliwasema ni mkono wa rais. Saa zingine mali yenyewe inapungua, lakini ila anapata kidogo ananituma. Sasa tukifika sasa, hiyo unajua inatachi kwa youth, inatachi kwa maji kama hiyo ya kila mtu.
Ndio.
Hata hii mahospitali vile tumeweka vitu tarakilishi, alafu tukaweka connectivity ya internet,
ndio
huwa tunatumwa na rais. So ndugu yangu, ikifika mwaka wa 2025 tunaamini kwamba rais ataendelea kututuma na tupate nafasi ya kuongea ajenda yake. Lakini ukiona kiongozi ambaye anatumwa na rais, unanisikia Robert? Ukiona kiongozi anatumwa na rais,
ndio,
alafu akifika hapa mambo ya rais anajifanya yeye ndiye anafanya, huyo si kiongozi. Ako na upungufu kidogo, kwa sababu ni kama wewe unatuma mtoto wako aende alipe pesa mahali huko na deni, anafika huko anasema mimi ndio nimeleta hii kusaidia mzee, na wewe ndio umempatia. Rais ndiye alitoa ahadi kwa hao watu.
Ndio.
Uliona Kisiang'ani akisema anasimama kura?
Hakuna?
Sasa nitatoa wapi? Ule aliwapatia ahadi atapatilisha maisha yake yao ni rais. Na saa zingine yeye hapati nafasi ya kuja hapa. Kwa sababu anatembea nchi nzima, saa zingine ako nchi za nje anatembea, ako na kazi nyingi. Sasa watu wake wa mkono akiwatuma, tukifika hapa tunasema rais ametutuma.
Ndio.
Sasa mimi Kisiang'ani, hao watu ambao wananipongeza waambie wapongeze rais.
Okay.
Kama wanataka kukutana na rais wampongeze, mimi naweza panga mpango waende waone rais wampigie asante. Lakini wasiseme Kisiang'ani amefanya vitu hapa Bungoma, amba Kakamega. Hata huko Kwale niliongea nikiwa Coast. Na nilienda mpaka institute huko, tena nilitumwa na rais. Unaona? Sasa sisi ni watu wa kufanya kazi, na ifika 2025 tutajaribu kusaidia rais. Mali anatutuma tunakimbia tunafanya. Ili naye awe na kazi yake rahisi. So hiyo ninatarajia, lakini kwa watu wa mkoa sehemu hii ya magharibi ya Kenya,
Ndio.
ambapo nilizaliwa, kitu niko na mambo mawili ya kuambia tu. Hao watu ni wazuri. Kiongozi wao ni rais. At any one time huwezi kuwa na viongozi wawili.
Naam.
President Ruto is their leader here. So let them stand behind the president's agenda. Mtu asiwagawanye. Agenda yao iwe agenda ya president. President ametupatia heshima, amejenga state lodge hapa Kakamega na Bungoma. Hiyo ni heshima kubwa
Kabisa.
Sasa wakitaka kumuona, utaona ako ametembea kidogo, utaona ako hapa Bungoma. Wamwambie mambo yake. Lakini kiongozi ambaye anasimamia mkoa wote wa magharibi, sehemu ya magharibi ni rais. Yule anasimamia Rift Valley ni rais. Coast ni rais. Northern Kenya ni rais. Watu wengine ni watu wake wa mkono wanafuata nyuma.
Wanasaidia kazi.
Lakini sitarajii kwamba 2025 tutakuwa na viongozi ambao watakuwa na compete kuonyesha upape na rais. This is a message to everybody. Let us all rally behind the president. Let there be nobody in this region who wants to rival President Ruto for popularity. He is our leader. So what he says is what we should do. Tukiwa na matatizo tumwambie, because we voted for him, he's our president.
Yeah.
We have nobody else to talk to. Let us not use proxies who might not tell us the truth. Let us have direct links. Last time I was here, I said, if these people want to say president is available, we can structure, he can meet them. Even if they want him to come here, he'll come. But he comes always. He doesn't need anybody to invite him.
Yeah.
So Western region here, as we move into this development agenda, let them be part and parcel of the president's development agenda. Let us work hard like we have never worked. Let the president find it easier to deal with us because we are working behind this agenda.
Yes.
Let us all be his foot soldiers. Let the young people build belief in the president. He likes them and he wants to create jobs for them.
Yeah.
And I think as we do that, in another 1 year when we are here in December, we shall be even better than we are today. Because the president has given us a lot of things. So we have enough to be grateful about. So the best way to thank him is to keep supporting him. All leadership, all administrators, all business people around here, please, I plead with you to support President Ruto's agenda because it is good for us also. He's not doing it for himself, but it's an agenda that can make our area better. And then the last thing on that is just to also emphasize that the president is preaching national unity, which is critical. If we didn't get united at independence, we would not have been free. So, Western Kenya must be part and parcel of the entire dream of Kenya. It should never isolate itself. If you want to be president and you live here in Kenya, in Western Kenya, you know you need the support of other people from other parts.
Yeah.
When other people also want to be president, they also need the support of Western. So therefore, our people must work together with the people of Kenya. President Ruto was voted by all Kenyans. So I expect that the leadership from all parts of the country will now unite to work, all of them in unison, behind our president, so that we have one united country, a country that dreams big about transformation, a country that can be admired, a country that can go places. So I think you will just allow me to finish by saying, I convey my New Year greetings to President Ruto and his family. He sent us greetings during Christmas. Our time is now to reciprocate. Send these greetings to him and his family as he ushers in the new year. Let God protect our president as he faces the new year challenge of reorganizing the affairs of this country. We can assure him of all our support, and the rest of the country, all Kenyans, I pray for you to live in peace, we live in harmony, we live in unity, so that together we can be strong enough to push the agenda of the president.
Haya, wananchi, tulianza tukisema, walituma ujumbe wakisema Kimandari amefika. Mmesikia sasa mwenyewe akiongea hapo Kimandari, na amewatakia mwaka mpya wenye furaha na mafanikio bila shaka na baraka. Na sisi tunasema asante sana Profesa kwa kuweza kufika. Asante sana. Na next time najua kwamba ukipata issue ukiwa around, bila shaka hapa ni nyumbani, unafika na kuelezea Wakenya masuala mbalimbali yenye serikali inafanya, na bila shaka we will keep on this conversation because we have been going on very well, disseminating issues, disseminating propaganda, and also giving the government agenda. Asante sana. Tunashukuru sana Profesa Edward wa Kisiang'ani kwa kuweza kufika, na vile vile ningependa kushukuru sana kwa dhati kabisa afisi ya Rais, chini yake jamaa wa mawasiliano hapo Emmanuel Talamu, ambaye amefuatilia mahojiano haya yote, amefuatilia na kuweka ticks mbalimbali. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Emmanuel Talamu kwa kushirikiana na sisi katika kuhakikisha kwamba taarifa hizi zimewakujia, mahojiano haya yamewakujia tangu mipangilio yote. Tunasema asante sana na timu yako ya kuweza kuhakikisha kwamba Profesa amefika na kuelezea yale ambayo serikali imepangia wananchi wa Western Kenya, Nyanza, North Rift na Kenya mzima kwa ujumla mwaka 2024 na 25 ambaye inakuja. Kutoka kwetu, kwa niaba ya wale ambao tumeshirikiana nao kuwaletea matangazo haya moja kwa moja, dada hapo Faith Nyongesa kwenye kamera, halafu mkubwa kamera hapa Florence Simiyu, halafu upande wa kitengo cha habari hapo Felix Wanjala akiwa hapo vile vile akihakikisha kwamba the floor issue is well contained and also well prepared for the professor to come and speak. Masi Sikuku akiwa hapo katika programming, IT and programming na transmission yote. Tunasema asante sana Masi Sikuku kwa kuhakikisha kwamba matangazo yameendelea kwa njia nzuri sana. Kwa niaba ya timu yote ambayo tumetaja, ndugu yangu, rafiki yangu Habat yako tu mahali hapa, asante sana kwa kuweza kuhakikisha kwamba umefikisha profesa kwa wakati. Na asante sana Prof. Bila shaka tunakutakia pia afya njema, mwaka mzuri wa 2025 wenye vitendo vingi vizuri ambavyo umekuwa unaendeleza. Asante sana mtazamaji kutoka kwangu, nikiwarejesha hadi Broadcasting House. Jina langu ni Robert Wanyonyi. Hadi wakati mwingine, kwaherini kwa sasa. Tabaki. Tunaweza inuka.